Okay, your girl's coming in hot. I want to say something that might piss a few people off. Shocking, I know, right? The women who win aren't lucky. They just decided. The women who win are not lucky. They decide. Welcome back to the Jessica Bergio Show. I'm so excited you're here for this off the chain, not scheduled podcast episode that I'm sitting down to record because I happen to have an extra 30 minutes post call with my last coaching client. We just closed out her 3-month container, and this struck me like, I was like, is it time to go grab a coffee, or can we sit down and record this right now? Because I am so lit up by this human, this person. And I want to share with you how this pertains to you, because when I say to you that the women who win aren't lucky, I think you get that. There are plenty of you who are working your fucking asses off, or have worked your ass off, or who have worked really hard to get where you're at. And that came from probably making a decision, right? And the women that are winning right now, they're not luckier than you. Sometimes it really does look like that on Instagram. I understand that. They look like they're more talented than you. They look like they've been ready since day one. Like they just wake up ready, right? But they are not. They're not more talented. They're not more ready. They're not luckier than you. They just fucking decided. And then you know what they did next? They moved. They took action. That's the thing that I see a lot of people get so stuck on. They don't move. And that can look different for everybody, yes, right? But what I find to be true is these women don't have a backup plan. They're done overthinking. They finally decided to stop overthinking. That is also a decision you have to make. When you keep toggling back and forth, waiting for the perfect time, it never comes. You just have to decide and then back that shit up with some action. Back that ass up. Where are my 90s girls at? Back that ass up, right? So yeah, I just got off the call with my client, Nina, and she's in real estate, for context. Last year, she did about 25 million in sales. And this year she's on track, get this, to do 50. That means doubling her income, her revenue, her business. And we're barely into the first quarter of the year. She decided at the end of last year, after seeing her numbers, that she wanted to double that number. And even if she falls a little short, it'll be by like a hair, she said. And again, every single week I've been on calls with her. I would almost say she's been distracted to the point because she's sharing her wins of a new contract under deal, 2 new deals, 3 new deals under contract. She just said to me today, it's Monday. This is all deal flow coming in from the weekend. But the reason why this is happening for her is because she's consistently showing up. She created a strategy, made a decision, and took action. She has been hosting a YouTube channel teaching people about real estate for quite a while now. So that's kind of how she got started in the online space, sharing her thought leadership. Then when we started working together, she decided that a podcast was going to be the way to open up the avenue for people in the coaching space. Because you see, Nina had something terrible happen to her several years ago, and she is a widow with 2 small kids. They're now grown and they're both at university. So this woman has 2 kids that she's putting through college, raising in a household, trying to keep it all together, doing it herself. And she could have easily gone a different direction, but she used that passion, that power, and that feeling of, I want to be financially independent. I want to make the choices around here. I don't want to be a victim to my circumstances. And she chose to take action. Yes, for her, it was real estate, and that real estate is providing the life that she wants to live. When we got together and she came into my world, she was focused on becoming nomadic. After her oldest is off to, finish with college, she's hoping to pass the real estate business off to him and move through life, traveling, and being able to help serve women who also want to feel financially independent, whether they've gone through something traumatic or not. You could be a stay-at-home mom for 25 years, and then all of a sudden you want to create something of your own. She has such a deep passion for helping women that it could be through the path of real estate. She could coach women into the real estate space. She works for a company that has a lot of mentorship that's involved with that. But consistency is one of the things that I've watched her just really hone in on. But the thing she said when she came to me to work with me was she wanted accountability, and she wanted not just hand holding, but she wanted help choosing the next right action step. And sometimes when we're so bogged down in our business doing the same thing day in and day out, it's really hard to see high level what is of most importance to get you where you say you want to go. That's where my brain comes in. We reverse engineer the plan. What's most important? What's going to move the needle? What's going to be the foundation that we lay so that you can build upon it over the next several months and years? So it was the podcast, kicking off the podcast, which of course, because she's a YouTube girl, she put the podcast on YouTube as well. We launched her with 7 episodes. It's the Nina Gervasi show. You guys go listen to her episode. Hopefully going to have her on the podcast soon. But a lot of people feel like they need to have a very clear strategy before they get started. And I don't think that's the case. I think it just starts with one simple decision. And I think Nina stopped sitting on the idea of starting her podcast. In fact, it wasn't even part of the conversation early on, but she launched it. She asked me how to do it, what I would suggest, and she did exactly what I told her to do based on what I see working for other people who have decided to play full on with this game online, with podcasting, with creating thought leadership content. Those people who are just dabbling in anything are the ones who are not going to see results, who are going to fizzle out, who are going to burn out, who are going to say, oh, this isn't quote unquote working. Oh, I'm not seeing the numbers that I want. They're imaginary things that they've made up in their head. She launched it, 7 episodes, done. She built the YouTube alongside it, done. Was it perfect? No. Does she tell me all the time how she hates putting her hair and makeup on and having to get ready for these? Yeah. So what does she do? I'm like, bash that shit out. This is how you create this much content within one day. Here's how you schedule it. Here's what we do. Here's how to simple edits. I'm like, you can hire a production team, but because she knows how to do a lot of the YouTube stuff, she kept it in house. She's like, I got this. I can do it. Everybody works differently, but there was no more, I need more time. And it was funny because I felt her drag her feet a little bit in the beginning because I think she knew how much work it was going to take. And that's where a lot of us get in our own way. We become the bottleneck. If you know that you're part of the problem and you're the bottleneck to the reason why you're not creating the content, you're not recording the podcast episodes, you're not putting yourself out there, hire somebody to help you in those areas where you're a little bit more prone to call it resistance, but it's really procrastination, hiding as you're scared or you don't want to do the extra work. If you have the means to hire somebody, this woman's doing how much in business and real estate? She could rob Peter to pay Paul. She's choosing to keep things in-house because she likes to keep control of these things. And I honestly think it's a great way to start a podcast if you have that technical skill set. But for someone who doesn't, who is busy doing other things that are income producing, I highly recommend sourcing that out, whatever that looks like. She's decided to source out a lot of help on the real estate side with the transaction coordinator, an assistant over there, so she can spend more time doing the things she actually likes, which is working on her show, working on her YouTube channels, right? And so that momentum was created because she moved. And that's where most of you guys need to hear the hard truth. You're not stuck because you don't know what to do. I am so done letting you use that as an excuse. I'm done letting myself use that as an excuse. We know what it is we need to do. You're stuck because you're not fully fucking committed to it. You're researching it still. You're still consuming. You're comparing. You're planning to plan the thing. And then you're spending more time tweaking it and you're going to change it, but you're not fucking deciding. Until you decide, hear me out. Until you decide, nothing changes. Until you decide, nothing changes. And here is what actually happens when you commit. You become available for so much more money, more clients, more opportunities, more aligned relationships, because you're no longer sitting in hesitation. That hesitation feels so stifling, doesn't it? You know what I'm talking about. If you listen to the show, I know you've sat in this before. When you're in motion, though, that motion creates data, and that data gives us the evidence. And that evidence, I feel, builds that belief that we really need, because we need to believe that it's possible. And the belief changes, literally rewires and changes your brain pattern and helps you, I think, show up differently in every area of your life. That's how abundance works. Not from just sitting back and wishing. No one's podcast was ever created from wishing. Nobody ever built a leveraged social media page by wishing. It comes from deciding and moving. And let's be real, Nina did not do this on her own. She put herself in a room, this time with me. We did one-on-one coaching. She put some skin in the game, right? She paid me to work with me. She chose that proximity. And often I'm just a mirror to the energy of which you want to step into. I have a podcast. We're almost at 400 episodes. I've pivoted businesses. I've ran multiple 6-figure salon business. I've sold salons. I've opened multiple things. I've coached hundreds of women from all different walks of life. The stories, the things, the experience that I have to share with my clients gives people that proximity. And that changes everything. That helps you expedite far faster than anything else ever will. If you try to figure this all out by yourself, for one, you're going to move really, really slow. Because when you're actually surrounded by women who are executing, building, and growing, it raises your standards, whether you like it or not. You just get called up automatically. So this goes back to my theory of like, I don't think you need another strategy. I think you need a new environment. And that's always been true for me because your current environment is probably keeping you comfortable, whether that's the people, the place, your business in and of itself. And I know for a fact that when I try to sit in that little comfy comfort zone, it kills my growth. And I've watched it happen to so many people. And this is exactly why I created the House of Influence Mastermind. It's not for people who are still thinking about it. It's for women who are ready to decide, to commit, and actually follow through. Because you don't need more information. You need a room that matches where you're going. You need to be surrounded by women who want to move also. And so if you're listening to this and you feel that pull, I just had another woman come into the mastermind via some of my podcast episodes that I've been putting out more recently, who has actually been following me for years. She was a friend of an old hair client of mine. She told me the story at the end of our sales call that we went to some vision boarding workshop at this girl's house years and years ago. So I've been in her world. What do you think was already built there before she decided to join this mastermind? Know, like, and trust. People want to say we're in a trust recession. No, we're not. People are being more cautious about what they're buying because their money means something to them. A, I believe. And B, we want to work with real authentic people who are not just slanging shit to make a buck. People who are authentically themselves on every platform in every way, shape, or form. And that is the biggest blessing / gift that I hear and is given to me when people tell me I'm authentic, and that what they hear and see in person in real life on my stories and my content is transferable throughout. That is everything to me. And I try to stay as much in my own world, surrounded by the people doing the things I want to be doing as possible so that I can stay in my authentic power. Because the second I try to be like her or do it like them, I lose that authenticity. I'm sure you've experienced that too. So again, this room is for women who are ready to decide, commit, and actually follow through. You need a room that matches where you're going, not where you're currently sitting at. So again, if it's like this little voice in your head that's like, I know it's me, like, this is for me, please reach out. The next level of you is trying to get your attention. She's like, let me out. Let me go play. I want to be with my people. She is trying to get your attention. That's why you have that feeling of uneasiness, that feeling of like tension in your body. It's time. So the House of Influence Mastermind is open. We have applications. Everything's in the show notes below. You can book a call after you fill out the application. I will send you a call link to schedule where we can connect and chat to see if you are a good fit for this and if this is the right time for you to commit, to make that decision, to get yourself in this room who you're done playing, you're done hesitating, and you're ready to move. Because the women who win, again, they're not lucky. They just decided. I'll see you on the next episode of The Jessica Bergio Show. You guys have a good one. Take care.